Central Minnesota Sports Hub. It's the Morning Sports Desk, presented by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and streaming on YouTube.
Powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. This is the Morning Sports Desk. I'm CJ Baumgartner. No Corey Tackman today, but we got our guy Zeke Foreman joining us here, our cross-country correspondent, also repping the merch, as they say, with his Mizzou hat.
Mizzou.
Anybody notable go to Mizzou that you just want to get off here before we get going?
Oh, man. Where to start? Sophie Cunningham, WNBA star, went there. Twins bench coach Jace Tingler, potential next coach of the Minnesota Twins.
Why not?
Went to Mizzou. Max Scherzer went to Mizzou. Chase Daniel went to Mizzou. Tim Laudner, I think, went to Mizzou. Kyle Gibson went to Mizzou. Who doesn't go to Mizzou? I went to Mizzou.
What's his name? Plays for the Nets now. Used to play for the Nuggets. What's his name?
Michael Porter Jr.
Michael Porter Jr. Yeah.
Mizzou alum.
Joey Porter, but I was like, that's not the same.
Luther Burden III.
Yes.
The Chicago Bears got his first NFL touchdown on a flea flicker last week. Mizzou alum.
Mizzou alum. All right, let's talk a little cross country here, Zeke. You've been our cross country correspondent all season long. There was a whole bunch of cross country meets taking place again yesterday. What do you got? What do we need to know? What's happening?
Yeah, Sauk Center boys cross country, very, very good. That's what we need to know on this one. They had their home meet yesterday. Looking at some results here, they went 1-2 in the boys. Logan Wehoff and Jacob Drevlo 1-2. They had Landon Bizey in the top 10. Also, they win with 35 points. Corey had 61. Melrose had 80. And on the girls' side, a battle for fourth place between Minnewaska area and Sauk Center, Section 6A opponents that are going to meet in the Section 6A meet on the 23rd of October, I think. Minnewaska area, they take fourth place yesterday, beating Sauk Center by 4 points. And so you look at the grand scheme of things in Section 6A, you got 3 teams on the boys' side, 3 teams, in my opinion, on the girls' side that are going to be competing for those 2 spots to go to state. On the girls, you have Minnewaska, you've got Bertha Hewitt, and you've got Sauk Center. And on the boys' side, you have Wadena Deer Creek, you've got, for the girls, Wadena Deer Creek, Sauk Center, Melrose for the girls. And Wadena for the girls too. So four there. Hold on, it's a Wednesday.
The gears are churning.
The gears are not churning. Mizzou alum. Remember, Wadena, Sauk Center, Minnewaska area for the girls. For the boys, it's Bertha Hewitt, Wadena Deer Creek, Sauk Center. There you go, competing for those 3 spots. A bunch of those teams running tomorrow. You've got more meets tomorrow. You've got the Dale Skellerud invite in Hawley, Park Rapids, Hawley, Pelican Rapids, Barnesville, Breckenridge, Frazee going to be there. You've got the OTC invite at Balmoral Golf Club, New York Mills, Verndale, Bertha Hewitt, Parker's Prairie going to be there. There's an invite in CI tomorrow. And then a lot of teams running this weekend. You got the Alexandria Lions Meet of Champions. Pretty much every big program is going to be there, and everyone who's not there is to be running the Swain invite in Duluth. I think it's the first time since before COVID that the Swain has been run. You've got a UNC running there. WDC is going to be in Duluth this weekend, so still lots of things going on.
Yeah, it's always fascinating. You're either running out in the plains or you're running in the literal hills of Duluth. So that'll be an interesting kind of shake up there. Zeke, like you mentioned, kind of these teams competing here at this point in the season, and it's not too far away from starting to think section meet. Just give us that refresher. Kind of when is that stuff on the horizon?
Yeah, so you've got this week. You've got next week. Minnewaska has a home meet next week. Perham has a home meet next week. Then you're into conference championship weeks. Breckenridge hosting the Heart of Lakes meet. Detroit Lakes is hosting the CLC meet. Oakwood Golf Course is going to host the conference meet for Park Region. And then the week after that, it's Section 6A meet is in Minnewaska. Section 8A meet is in Bagley. And then 1 month from today, it's state cross country at the Les Bolstead Golf Course at the U of M.
Crazy to think we're already
a month out. Yeah.
It's insane.
It goes quick.
I know we've talked a lot about the teams. Any individual runners that we got to be watching out for here as we get to this point in the season?
Yeah, looking back at the which meet was it? Let me look at my notes here. I'm I'm going to log on to Sports Cow because there was a meet earlier last week, Tuesday. Hold on.
Can you tell that, by the way, I just sent Zeke in here cold and didn't give him any heads up what questions I would be
asking.
You
gave me plenty of heads up. I didn't utilize my morning well. I just want to see all the videos that you put on Sports Cow recently.
Moo. By the way, you can check out all of Zeke's cross-country content when you go to WadenaRadio.com or by clicking on Sports Cow on Facebook. And when you follow Sports Cow on Facebook, you get a bunch of clips of our episodes. You get a lot of conversations with Wadena Deer Creek Activities Director Norm Gallant. He had a lot to say about their homecoming week, their Hall of Fame, and including their cross-country team and how they've been running. Grant Nelson, one of those runners, having a top 6 finish at the Border Battle race last weekend up in Grand Forks. So a lot of great stuff when you follow Sports Cow on Facebook or go to WadenaRadio.com. All right, Zeke, what do you got?
Yeah, thanks for killing time for me. Speaking of the Border Battle, talking about individual runners that people should be keeping an eye on, specifically for the boys race in that in the A race for the boys varsity. You mentioned Grant Nelson; he took 6th in that race. Logan Weoff, Jacob Drevelo of Sauk Center, they were 1-2 yesterday. They had top 15 finishes. Peter Newark of OTC, Carter Chesbo of West Central area, all finishing in the top 15 at that big meet on Saturday. Of course, you've got the Perem Yellow Jackets, and Matt Jorgensen is kind of the lead guy there. We've talked about him a couple times this season, stepping into that Bjorn Anderson role. Bjorn now running with the Jackrabbits, and before him it was Jacob McCleary. And I don't know where they keep finding these guys, where Jeff Morris keeps finding these guys just out of the blue, but bam, 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 bam. He's always got a top runner in the state. Of course, Audrey Burnell, Staples Motley, hasn't ran in a while. She's going to be running at the Alexandria meet on Saturdays. So I hear she didn't run in Foley last week. They kind of let the death pieces kind of get some experience there. They sat Audrey for that one, but going to be running at that Alexandria meet on Saturday.
Do you trust your Staples Motley sources on that one?
Sometimes they don't want to reveal their whole hand all the time, and so I try not to dig too much. But whatever news I get, I'll relay along.
There we go. Zeke's inside hashtag sources helping us out on that one. Yeah, a lot of great runners. A lot of fun that's going to be happening here over the next month when I want to say things get colder, but it's like 80 degrees out. So,
it's going to be 81 on Friday, I saw. That's
goodness gracious.
Yeah, let's go.
We didn't get like an 80-degree day all summer, but now we're getting them in October.
Right. Now that I haven't mowed my lawn in 3 weeks because it's been too hot, it's going to be hot all weekend. This is like my last free weekend until after state cross country. So it's better cool down a little bit.
Just for you. All right.
Just for like an hour.
We'll talk a little more about our state sports coming up, the Twins, the Wolves, the Wild, the Lynx, all that good stuff coming up. But first, we need to talk about the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. And with the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade, not only do you get the great pizza, the country's best chicken, the mashed potatoes, the just the whole spread. Tomorrow's going to be wing night, and Okori's a big fan of the new wings that they're unveiling at the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. But not only that, do you get the great food. That's just a given. You got to remember that you also are getting the great stuff of the FunZone Arcade, which includes great new prizes that have arrived. And look at this, Zeke. Wouldn't that get your kids excited to see all the new packs of Pokemon cards there at the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade? The Mega Evolution release is here. Redeem your tickets for Elite Trainer boxes and booster packs, and now available at the prize counter. Catch them before they're gone, because I've talked with Zach over at the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena, and he says getting Pokemon cards for the FunZone Arcade can be very tough to come by. They are tough commodities to try and get. Mm-hmm. So he says he's got to be first in line when he goes to find the new releases at Target or Walmart or wherever, some of these places, to make sure that he gets them. He'll do all that for you, for the kids, for the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. I got brothers. I got a 1-year-old, so we probably wouldn't get too excited about the cards yet. But I got to imagine, Zeke, if you brought this up to your kids, that they'd be a little excited.
Yeah, they love sports cards, love Pokemon cards, and they love pizza. I want to show this. I placed a mobile order on the app for later today. They've got their 2 for $2.22 back online, so you can get 2 medium pizzas for $22. I'm going to have one for lunch, and I'm going to have one for supper. Buffalo chicken and the classic pepperoni. Mix and match a little bit. Yeah,
it's what we call a win-win in the broadcasting business.
Win-win.
So,
Pickup is at noon today, so we gotta start rolling here.
we gotta keep her moving. Pizza
I can
Ranch.
go get lunch, so I get lunch. Double pizza today.
Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. You can also find them when you use the mobile app or go online, and you can do all that great stuff. Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade, proud sponsors of the Morning Sports Desk.
If you don't have the app, get it. The app is awesome.
It's clutch, and you can use your Ranch rewards points, which are also clutch. So you get eat a bunch of pizza, get free pizza. I'm no math major. I did communications, but even I know that math adds up.
That's a great deal. It's a great deal.
Great deal. All right. Not a great deal was the Minnesota Lynx yesterday. Nafisa Collier going scorched earth on the WNBA heads and the commissioner. Zeke, there's a lot she said. It was a very prepared statement before she said anything. It was only about 3 minutes long. Maybe it wasn't a super long kind of address, but she certainly had some things that she wanted to get across when it came to what she wanted to say. And as I'm pulling up the quotes and the things that she wanted to specifically get across, kind of in the too long didn't read version of how this stuff all kind of shakes out, basically got up there and said that the WNBA has the worst leadership in the world, which is pretty intense for her to come out there and jump right on that. Also, talking to Nafisa Collier, she said that she talked with the WNBA commissioner about, whatever player, paying players, media rights, all that kind of stuff, basically why the players should earn more money. And Nafisa Collier said that Kathy Engelbrecht, the commissioner of the WNBA, said the players should be thanking her for, quote, the media rights I got them, unquote. Even says Caitlin Clark would not be making the money she makes off of endorsements had it not been for the platform that the WNBA provided. And that, by the way, was smart of Collier, because she knew she had to bring the Caitlin Clark stands into the fold here
100%.
A little bit. Zeke, there's a lot of different ways you can look at this, but what's the big takeaway? What's happening here? Is anything going to come of this, or is this just kind of a bunch of pent up frustration that she can kind of get out there and move on?
I think it's good that she brought it to light. I like that she had the prepared statement and she just read it off of a paper. So this was a well thought out. This wasn't a spur of the moment, let emotions take over. This was probably a lot longer initially, and then rewritten a couple times to make sure that she got all of her points in. Like you said, it was a 3 to 5 minute deal, and she wasn't wrong in any of it. Is the thing. And she gave examples. She gave quotes from the meeting, the Caitlin Clark thing, where Caitlin Clark was probably making more at Iowa than she is with the Indiana Fever on that rookie contract that she got from the WNBA. She was getting endorsements. You can't go through Iowa still and not be able to pick up Iowa 22 merchandise anywhere. I mean, you look at the recent history between Kathy Engelbrecht and the Minnesota Lynx. I mean, last year, the WNBA Finals, wearing the dress with the New York skyline to the trophy presentation, didn't sit well with anybody that root for the Minnesota Lynx. And then you look at the Cheryl Reeve situation from Game 3 and how she was fined, I think, $15,000, which is like 6 times the largest fine in WNBA history. Diana Taurasi bumped an official once, got fined $2,000, and now you come out and you not only fine Cheryl $15,000, but you suspend her for a must-win elimination game in the playoffs. I mean, it's very obvious that Kathy doesn't like the Lynx, and the Lynx don't like Kathy. And I think there's a lot of people in the WA who feel that way. There is some new CBA stuff coming. I've seen reports that Kathy is going to step out of her role with the new CBA. I've seen reports that she's not going to step out of her role. She's going to keep trying this ironclad fist of whatever she's doing with the WNBA. It's not working. The WNBA has never been better than it is today, and Kathy is just she's wasting it with over the top physical play. We saw it with the Lynx. We've seen it in the Vegas and Fever series. We've seen it with the Fever many times. They're big 3 with the Fever. Caitlin Clark out for the playoffs. Sophie Cunningham out for the playoffs. Lexi Hull out for the playoffs because they got hurt in games with stupid things, stupid fouls. Sophie Cunningham tore her ACL on a bonehead play that was completely avoidable, and things like that. It's the product could be so good, but the way that the WNBA is run right now, it's just not, because of poor officiating, because of over the top physical play, and just because of dumbhead moves by the commissioner and leadership with that league.
Yeah, 100%. I don't have anything to add more on. You pretty much hit the nail on the head. And this has been a lot of bad blood boiling from the league, from the last year's finals, from a lot of things, the way that this year's playoff exit happened. And, again, 100% on Team Phee here. We're all aboard that train. To play devil's advocate, there are just a couple things that probably also need to be mentioned in the sake of fairness. Napheesa Collier also does have that
The unrivaled league.
the unrivaled league that certainly has a stake and things like that. And she certainly has influence in that. The other thing too is always when you look at stuff like this, she said, afterwards, I would have said this had we gotten eliminated from the playoffs or won the title. And maybe, but certainly this comes across a lot louder when your team, again, she got hurt, Reeve got suspended. All that's true, but they did fail in their expectations of winning a championship.
Yeah, Kathy Engelbert didn't blow a 20-point lead in game 2. That was all on the links.
Right, exactly. Napheesa Collier missed the final game again. Injury, that happens. All that stuff. The point is to say it's hard to avoid the sore loser aspect of it, even if the things she said are warranted and even if the things she said are true. It's a very tough situation to be put in. But yeah, she also does have a couple conflicting factors, but it also just adds fuel to the fire, and I'm all in on it. The league has some drama. The league has some tension. They have some things to go off of. And this will be interesting for what Engelbert, the commissioner of the WNBA, does, because we've seen controversies with Rob Manfred in Major League Baseball. We've seen controversies for sure with Roger Goodell in the NFL. And basically what happens is they kind of wait for the bad headlines to blow over, and then they just kind of keep moving on business as usual. And we'll see if the WNBA does that. The league is still relatively in its infancy, especially with the commissioner, especially kind of in this new era over the last 5 years, kind of the unprecedented leap that they've taken. It'll be interesting to see if they kind of fall in line with the traditional sports leagues, or if traditional sports leagues passed, or if they decide that they're going to do something a little bit different. It'll depend, because I don't think necessarily she was the one raking in the deals. It certainly was the players kind of elevating things, all that. Still, though, the gravitas to claim that I secured the media rights deal, as if that media rights deal wasn't going to be good because Caitlin Clark was coming into the WNBA and people were going to be watching. That I don't.
That's why you broadcast all but like 3 Indiana Fever games on ESPN this last year. Yeah.
Yeah,
Kathy did that. She did release a statement following Phee's thing, and basically was like, long story short, I'm sorry that all this came to light, blah, 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 blah.
Which
didn't deny anything is the thing. So it's like, that's also not a great look.
Right, exactly. There could have been a way to deflect and been like, hey, what she said is detrimental to the league, or something, whatever. You can find some politically way to phrase it. But yeah, sorry that came to light is basically a tacit admission that, it's a full-on admission that happened.
Yeah, it all happened. Only losers complain about the fouls.
Only losers. Oh yeah, that's right. She also said
Put that on a t-shirt. That's our Wadena County Fair t-shirt for next year. Only losers care about the fouls.
Lynx make the playoffs, and Zeke and Corey are going there with the shirts.
Last year we had embellish. This year we have only losers complain about fouls.
God dang it.
What else do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about Rocco Baldelli and the Minnesota Twins, because we're in a good mood. Rocco Baldelli got fired. You mentioned this. I've mentioned this. Corey's mentioned this. Derek Falvey reiterated this. He had the written statement that came out when they fired Baldelli on Monday afternoon, saying that basically we fell short of our goals and I take full responsibility for that. But Zeke, you notice how he's taking full responsibility by basically just keeping his same job. And in fact, a year ago at this time, is actually more powerful in the organization than he was a year ago.
Who?
I don't know. What's going on with the Twins here, Zeke? What do they got to do? You had a whole write-up online at WadenaRadio.com and Sports Cow on Facebook. Kind of take us through your thesis.
My thesis is that the Minnesota Twins are a franchise, not unlike a chicken with its head cut off, just running around with no idea where it's going, no idea what it's doing, and without a thought in its head. It is not great for a lot of people's favorite baseball franchise right now. And you look at some of the quotes from Derek Falvey. He says, we fell short of expectations, blah, 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 and Rocco takes the fall. I mean, in my opinion, there's no better dude to manage the Twins in 2026 than Rocco Baldelli. He was invested in this project. And I don't know if there's stuff said behind the scenes or whatever. The Twins gave this dude a contract extension 3 months ago. He was on the books, or he is on the books for 2026. Is anybody going to want to come into this mess with the fan apathy at an all-time high, highest it's been in 25 years since the team was rumored to be moving to Durham, North Carolina, or just disappear entirely? You trade 10 dudes at the trade deadline. Yes, they still have Buxton, who is due another $3 million if he finishes top 10 in the MVP, by the way. Joe Pollard will love that. You still have Pablo Lopez. You still have Joe Ryan, Buxton, and you still have Bailey Ober, who Falvey said in his press conference could still be a top 20 or 30 dude in the league. You got Luke Keyshaw looking like he's going to be a pretty big piece. You've got I was going to say Walker Kessler. It's not Walker Kessler. It's Walker Jenkins, coming up as well. And what after that? Yeah. What after that? Matt Wallner, who hit 200 with 20 home runs and 40 RBI this season. There's absolutely no bullpen to be heard. You saw it in the series finale where they got walked off against the Phillies, a Phillies team that really had nothing to play for. Milwaukee had locked up the number 1 seed the day before. Phillies locked it at the 2. And, Twins lose their 92nd game of the year in walk-off fashion, kind of the exclamation point of what happened this season for a team that was supposed to compete with in the AL Central. 2 games below 500 at the All-Star break, came out, lost 2 of 3 to the Colorado Rockies, who lost 120 games this year in a division where 89 wins would have sent you to the playoffs as the 3 seed. And that is just, that's a hard pill to swallow, because Detroit was taken off, and you can't predict what the Tigers did and losing the way they did. Cleveland winning 16 of 18 down the stretch to steal the division title. But I mean, if the Twins go all in instead of selling the farm, maybe they can come back and they can win 86, 87 games, because 87 wins got you in the playoffs this year, unless you were Houston. But
the beauty of
it was there, and the Twins just gave it up.
The beauty of the AL Comedy Central is that anybody can win it any year except for the White Sox. So, you said that there is a possibility that they can bounce back. Here's a quote from Falvey. He said, "We didn't perform at the level we wanted to perform. And he's talking about what a new manager would be. You want a good partner who cares about not just maybe that day, but does want to invest in the whole organization and wants to think about young players and how we get them better. In a market like ours, you're going to bring up young players and guys that aren't quite there yet. They need to be given runway, need to be given development, and need to grow at this level." And I think not necessarily, I don't know how much this falls on the feet of the manager. I don't know how much this falls on the feet of the hitting coach. I don't know how much this falls on the feet of the organization, like the front office. There's obviously levels to this, right? But I think we all can agree that the biggest reason the Twins have flopped is not just because Carlos Correa didn't live up to the contract, but also because guys like Royce Lewis, Brooks Lee, Austin Martin, and even you mentioned Matt Wallner, some of these guys that the Twins were banking on to be key nucleus of their success in the lineup just never developed and never took that next step to consistently perform. They've all shown flashes, but all have never kind of put together a solid full season body of work. And I don't know if that's fully on Baldelli. I don't know. Maybe it is, but the next manager is going to need to be somebody who is good at developing that, or at least has a reputation of developing young players. And that makes me think, Zeke, it's probably got to be like an older manager, right? Like a more seasoned manager, right? Wouldn't you think? Or is a younger manager what's needed?
There are 2 different things, 2 different ways the Twins could go in their managerial search here. Is they could bring in a guy who is going to who's going to take his lumps early, who is going to make this team better in the long run, or they can bring in a guy who's flashy and who's going to sell tickets and who Twins fans adore. You can go the route of a Torrey Hunter, which it sounds like he's rumored for the LA Angels job. They ditched Ron Washington yesterday. Ron Washington can manage the Twins. He played for him in the 70s. This is like the one place he hasn't managed yet. You could go that Torrey Hunter way. Trevor Plouffe suggested Justin Morneau, who would give some of the driest press conferences in the history of baseball, unless they hire Joe Mauer for that role. You can go Michael Kadire. Lots of different ways you can go there. I've seen Drew Butera's name brought up. He was on the White Sox coaching staff. They axed everybody except their their manager yesterday. So Drew Butera, a different direction, which is try and bring somebody else in. Maybe like this isn't going to happen at managing. Maybe Manny Acta or something like that. A name that I would love to see at least interview for the job is former Twin Matt LaCroix, who's managing the AAA affiliate Rochester Red Wings right now. Earned his 300th managerial win over the summer, and I think bringing in a guy like Matt LaCroix would be good for this team. But there's so many different ways to go, and the Twins are going to make a cheap, boneheaded decision just to kind of get from point A to point B. So in 3 years, when the Twins are still losing 100 games, they can use that manager as the scapegoat too.
Yeah. A lot of fun momentum here. You mentioned too a couple different names. What about Doug Minkiewicz? What's he, besides the fact that he was in the Twins minor league system, they basically like, dude, you're going to kill somebody. You got to leave. And then he left.
I think that bridge is burned.
That bridge might be
burned. Is not gonna. That one's not gonna happen.
His recent claim to fame has been going on podcasts and calling everybody nerds. So that's been kind of his what old Dougie's been up to. But yeah, like I think that there's a few different routes you could go, and I think obviously Torrey Hunter could be the manager. He doesn't have a ton of actual coaching experience. He's been kind of like he's been in the front office of the Angels, kind of basically doing like flying to minor league affiliates and kind of meeting with them. So he's been doing coaching in that way, but not like on the ground, kind of daily grinding coaching. And you also look at a guy, in Torrey Hunter, who could get the Angels job, although apparently the Angels are rumored to be really wanting Albert Pujols to take that job. Another former Angel, Ron Washington, who just got let go.
They're already paying him. Yeah.
Brian Snitker will not be managing the Atlanta Braves anymore. So heck, Washington could go back to Atlanta where he was on the coaching staff there. There's a lot of flexibility with this coaching staff. And you mentioned at the end too, with kind of the owners kind of settling on somebody cheap, that may just overall be what happens because the Rangers have a job opening. The Giants have a job opening. The Twins have a job opening. The Angels have a job opening. The Braves have a job opening. Maybe there's like a couple others I'm still forgetting, but like a sixth of the league plus needs a new manager. Mm-hmm. You are not going to be first on that line. I guarantee you. It's like the Giants, the Rangers, even the Angels at least get to have Mike Trout, are all kind of making their way on. The Braves are certainly top of mind on that list as well with the good core they have in place. You are not going to be anybody's first pick. And they probably know that. So it'll be interesting to see how they navigate this process. The Twins have not listed any names, but it'll be fascinating to see. They could go the college ranks. They've done that before with Wes Johnson, the old pitching coach. Even Pete Mackey was called up from the coaching ranks.
Because Wes Johnson definitely worked out long term.
Hey, he's doing great as head coach of Georgia. Is he head coach of Georgia? I think he left to be the pitching coach
Georgia
for
or LSU. One of the
a college
CC somewhere.
Coach could for a
not here though. He didn't go here.
No, exactly. That's why Max Scherzer goes there. So a lot of stuff there with the Twins. We'll see how it all ends up kind of working its way into the fold and what they do, and obviously kind of where you go from there with what the franchise wants to do in the offseason with guys that are coming through, with your Buxtons and with your Lopez and Ryan and things like that. So a lot of questions still to be answered. We'll figure it all out as the offseason gets closer. One last thing, Zeke, and then we will get out of here. Kirill Kaprizov, largest contract in NHL history. $17 million per year, which again, NHL contracts fascinate me because like Pablo Lopez is making $21 million and he's just like, that's like a pretty cheap contract for a number one, good number two starting pitcher in baseball. But, besides that fact, what does it mean that the Wild were able to get this done? Were you concerned at all that they weren't going to get it done?
Not really. I mean, the word on the street with the Kaprizov deal is he wanted fewer years. And the deal showing yesterday that it wasn't about fewer years, it was about more money. Basically, what the Kirill Kaprizov signing does is it sets the market for everybody else. 8 years, $136 million total, like you mentioned, the highest AV for any NHL player ever. And he better enjoy that while it lasts, because what this does is it sets the market for a guy playing up in Edmonton named Connor McDavid, who's going to easily eclipse the number that Kirill Kaprizov
He's going to be making 25 per pretty easily.
Exactly. So for right now, Kaprizov set the market for the highest, and now everyone, Austin Matthews and Connor McDavid, just gonna upshoot that number. For the Wild, I'm glad that they did it, but I was also glad when they brought in Zach Parise and Ryan Suter, and there are two different sides of this argument with Wild fans I'm seeing everywhere. It reminds me a lot of the Joe Mauer deal in 2010. Like if the Twins would have traded Mauer, if they would have let him walk in free agency, this place would have burned to the ground, right? People would have been so angry. They signed Mauer. Awesome. He's going to stay. Oh, 2 years into the deal, he's always hurt. He's not hitting 30 home runs anymore. He's not winning MVP. What a waste of money. Why do we even have Joe on this team? We should let him leave, blah, 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 blah. Now you look at the Wild, newly out of salary cap hell from the Suter and Parise deals, and you give $136 million to Kirill Kaprizov. If Bill Guerin would have traded him, if he would have let him walk, the place would have burned to the ground. And now here we are again, where I'm glad that they did it. Kirill Kaprizov and Bill Guerin are connected at the hip. If Bill Guerin doesn't get this deal done, I don't think he has a job. It was a must accomplish task for Bill Guerin, was to lock up easily the best player that this franchise has ever had. He's already top 3 in like points and scoring and all these things, even though he's hurt every single year. But there just really hasn't been those major guys for the Wild. Marian Gaborik, Zach Parise, Joel Eriksson, maybe the top 3 with Kaprizov in there too. There hasn't been much. And for the Wild to get this guy and to lock him up for 8 years, good for them. But there's also there's both sides of the coin here too, because we've lived it with Joe Mauer and we lived it with Zach Parise and Ryan Suter. Yes, we handed out the big contract, and now what? He's a guy who can't stay healthy for a full season, who disappears during the playoffs, and excuses. How do you build a roster around him? Well, how has Bill Guerin built a roster being $15 million in dead cap every single year? By drafting well, by making smart trades, some smart trades, some not so smart trades. But in Bill Guerin, I trust. And if Kirill Kaprizov is going to be a part of this team for the long term, I think it's a lot better for this team than if they would have traded him for draft picks and cast-offs.
And, that's an interesting point because, I think we both fall in the camp of if you have a good franchise-changing player, you have to keep them. Like, there's no, salary this, salary that. If you have a good player, and Kirill Kaprizov, as people talked about, one of the best left wingers in the league, if not the best, well, you got to have him on your team. As opposed to creating him in the aggregate? Like, no. If you have a blue-chip player, you keep that blue chip player. It's when the Vikings fans a couple of years ago were like, well, we could trade Justin Jefferson because you could get Malik Neighbors and then you could get a first round pick. No, take Justin Jefferson. Keep Justin Jefferson.
You have the proven commodity. Take advantage of it.
In the hand, but what if I have 2 in the bush?
Exactly.
Never
and
thought
what if
about
the 2
that.
in the bush end up being Matt Wallner and Brooks Lee?
Now I'm sad
catching strays.
Sorry,
Brooks. Sorry, Matt.
But honestly, you got to keep that player. And how do the Wild build around him? Like you said, they have to draft, they have to develop, they have to hope that Jasper's good. They got Zeke, who's here, so that's good. What are the expectations? How do the Wild build this team? I mean, obviously Kaprizov has been here for a while now, but and on the ice for the Wild. But how do the Wild in the future build around this guy? What exactly is it going to take for the Wild to be good this year?
I think it's going to be a slow start for the Minnesota Wild this year. Marc-Andre Fleury just retired as a Pittsburgh Penguin. Loved what he did. He signed that one-day contract, played a preseason game with the Penguins, and then was like, my hip hurts. I'm done. So he did play a one, maybe even 2 preseason games I didn't see, but celebrated the career of Marc-Andre Fleury in Pittsburgh. He's done. I still think he'll get calls in January to come back and play for a contender if he stays in shape, but who knows? Wild announcing yesterday that Matt Zuccarello has a lower body injury. He's going to miss the first 2 months of the season.
Great.
And that Zuki and Kirill line always good for a couple points every game. And so, and Zuccarello, he says this is going to be it for him too. He's 36, 37, 38 years old. He says, this is my final ride. You lock up Marco Rossi, who's expected to take that next step. He was a guy with a lot of trade speculation over the offseason. Bill Guerin says, no, we need a player of this caliber. We believe in Marco Rossi. Let's lock him up. And so a lot of familiar faces back. I think really the only change that they made is they brought back, I forget his name now. He's a third line center, brought him in from Florida. He'd been here before. It's going to come to me after the podcast is over. Brought him back in from Florida, but it's all, Brodin and Hartman and all those guys are back. So basically the Wild are running it back this season without Marc-Andre Fleury and without Zuki for the first 2 weeks.
The good news is,
and with a full season of Zeev, that'll help too.
I was going to say, we'll have a full season of Wallstead. We'll have a full season of Zeev. We'll see how those young guys take the next step up and see how they can build around the Wild. All right, Zeke, thanks for hopping on and joining the show today to really make us feel great about the state of Minnesota sports. Hey, at least the Timberwolves Media Day was yesterday, so we got some fun Ant clips to talk about. Otherwise, there might not have been much. So, all right, that'll do it. Morning Sports Desk.
Oh, and we have Vladimir Tarasenko now too. I forgot about Vladimir Tarasenko. He's with the Wild now too.
Bill Guerin loves his wily bets
man
that are going to take ice time over young guys.
Why not?
Morning Sports Desk.
I forgot about the biggest signing we had, Vladimir Tarasenko.
It would have been a huge signing in 2018. See you guys later.
Powered by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Follow the Morning Sports Desk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And watch every show on YouTube.